Hi, it's Paris from Epic Reviews, and what I have in my hand here, in this not too nicely packaged package, is the X hose. No fancy labeling or cardboard insets, it's just the hose with a plastic adapter piece and a little page of, I guess, instructions. So this has been a big hit, people using this instead of a long garden hose, which you don't know what to do once you're done watering. You try to curl it up in a loop it up on a thing on the side of the house, leave it dragged out across the driveway. The idea with this is that it will shrink back to about this size once you're done with it. So you hook it up to the faucet, whatever attachment you need on the other end. When you turn the water on, this is supposed to stretch out to 25 feet in length. And when you're done watering, you turn the water off, it's supposed to shrink back down. You can wrap it around the faucet or put it in some small space. It shouldn't take up any more space than this. So I'm going to test this out. I'm going to hook it up to the hose out in the front yard. We actually have a fairly warm day out today, and see if this will let me water my plants. Alright, I've got my not so fancily packaged X hose here. I'm going to open it up and see what they've included in the package. How long this thing is really when it's not full of water. Instructions. We've got these two types at the end. And this piece, in case you'd like to use a valve to turn it on and off. And then here's the hose. See how long this is? Well, it measures in it pretty short to start with. I've got it folded in half, touching the ground, about 4 feet, so double that, about 8 feet. 8 feet total in length. And I'm going to hook it up to the faucet and see how long it gets when it stretches out. Okay, I've decided to attach this piece with the little valve on it to the end so I can close this off so I can get the maximum extension of it when I've got the water flowing through it, the maximum pressure. Let me zoom in here and see about attaching it to our faucet. This is all plastic, no metal, no washer, no sleeve, no plumber's tape or anything like that in it. Now our faucet always leaks, the handle always leaks, but I'd like to see what happens here if we're going to get any leakage. Alright, going to turn on the faucet and see what kind of stretching this hose will do. And look for leaks at the same time. Now, let me get out of the way. Turn on the faucet. We have expansion. This is getting curly. Okay. I don't see that there's any leak around the base of it. The handle of the faucet is leaking so much so it's hard to tell. Let me stretch this out and see what it looks like. No leaks here anyway. Well, let's see how it looks here. It's stretched out pretty good. Halfway across my driveway. Here at the end it's kind of got a kink in it. It's gonna stay kinked, I guess. Alright, let's turn on the valve here, let some water pressure out and see what happens. Okay, it's gonna spray me if I let it go, I just know it. Let me throw it over there. Oh, hey, I had one of these when I was a kid. Well, that's not so good. Let's turn it off and see what's going on. Yeah, we don't seem to have any problem along most of the length of it. But right at the end where it's got that permanent kink, it just wants to curl up once the water pressure gets reduced. Well, let me measure the length, then I'll let the water out and we'll see what happens. Alright, here's the X hose, doing a measurement of how long it is. Of course it goes up to the faucet, which is about 1.5 feet up off the ground, so you got to figure it's going to be somewhat longer than the tape measure shows, but let's follow it along here and see. Again, it's good and straight till it gets to the end, and then there's this business. So if you go by the business and don't stretch it out at all, we're just under 24 feet. If I help this a little, I can add a few inches. 24 feet 3 inches, Then if I factor in the height that the hose went up, I'd add another 7 or 8. So just barely, 25 feet is right here. And if it were to make it, it would just barely be 25 feet long. All right, I'm going to try one more time, releasing the water pressure at the end and seeing what happens to the hose. Yeah, it's just those first 2-3 feet that you lose. All right, time to see how well it curls back up and if I can really store it as easily as it claims. Let me turn off the water here at the faucet and then I'll release the pressure at the valve end and we'll see what happens. Okay, water going off at the faucet. And then let it out the end here. Pretty good shrinkage going on there. Let me take it off the faucet here and see how long it ended up. How long it is now. Well, I would say it went back to exactly 8 feet. It's right off the screen here. Well, it did shrink back up. It does fit up in a small coil right around the faucet handle. It does do that. I was disappointed in a couple other things, but let me dry my hands off and get all the mud off of me and I'll give you my final analysis. All right, now when I had the X hose hooked up directly to the faucet, there was so much spray coming out of my leaky faucet handle, I couldn't tell for sure whether this was leaking or not. I've got this under full pressure now, and I've decided to hook it up to the hose here where there's no leak going on. And so, there definitely is no leak. The seam is good. I just wanted to make that clear. I'll open this up here, show you a little of the flow rate. And yeah, we have no leaking on the seams, so it does not leak. Alright, so in my final analysis of this collapsible hose idea, it's a good idea. I can see a lot of potential for it. It's always been a problem having the hose laying out somewhere or another, worrying the neighbors are going to cut it when they mow their lawn, or that it's out where the cars are going to drive over, things like that. So, good idea and concept. And if this were the only collapsible hose I reviewed, then I might say this is certainly worth a try, but I have reviewed the other big popular collapsible hose, the pocket hose, and so I'll put the link to that review up on one of these sides here. And I've also done a head-to-head comparison of this, so I'll put that review, the link to that up there as well. So take a look at them and see what you think before investing in this one. How about I leave it at that? It's a good idea and concept. It did not leak. That's why I tested it again and threw in that little clip at the end. That, yeah, it was perfectly fine. But in terms of being all that it can be as a collapsible hose, please take a look at the other videos before you spend your money. Thanks.